So I think I can confidently say that community saved my life. And that's not like hyperbolic or like an exaggeration. When I genuinely think about how I was growing up, community literally saved my life. Like, and I'll tell you guys why throughout the video. I'll explain a couple reasons why community is so important to me to this day. So if you're new to the channel, obviously like this video. If you like this video, like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if anything I say kind of sparks a memory in your brain or sparks a feeling that you have about community or anything like that. And if you really love this video, share it with others, like especially the title of the video, the topic of the video is about community. So I was born in the United States, but I didn't grow up here initially. I grew up in Nigeria for a little bit, and then I moved back here. And when I moved back, obviously, being an American citizen, I don't sound American. I don't have any American characteristics. I wouldn't be able to just fit in. And I remember one of the earliest memories of my Nigerianness showing was in elementary school. I brought beans to school, like for lunch. And I remember this girl, Angelina something. I can't remember her last name, but it was Angelina. I remember that. This was like the second grade. And I'm eating my beans and she's laughing. Like, what is that? Like, what is that? You know, like, you know how people try to mock you in elementary school. Or just in general. What is that? And I'm like, beans. And she starts laughing. And it's not like a laugh where I'm going to laugh, you know, at you. It's one-on-one laughing session. It's I want the whole table to laugh with me at you. Like, I want you to really feel the shame of what you're eating right now. And obviously everyone's laughing, and I go home and I'm just upset. Like, I'm just sad. Like, whatever. This is what we signed up for. Why don't we just stay in Nigeria? Fast forward a little bit. So this is a feeling I kept feeling throughout elementary school, and mostly throughout middle school. It wasn't until late middle school, early high school that things really started to change for me. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of confidence, right? Because I would always believed in my mind that confidence was tied to, you know, how much money you had or how tall you were or just random like silly things. Like if you played a sport and you're one of the best players, you know, that's what made people like you. Later, I would find out it's obviously it's just confidence. Like, just be confident in yourself and people will be drawn to you. But I didn't have any confidence for a lot of my teenage years. And I also didn't feel like I belonged in a lot of settings in school, right? Especially in school. Like, church was fine because everybody in church was Nigerian, so I fit in perfectly. But school was the issue. And that's like the main part of your day is school. So I remember it was the 8th grade. My bike gets stolen, and I come to school and I'm upset and I'm like angry and I'm just down. And this guy sees me. His name was Cordell Wagner. He might not even remember this at all, but I remember it. Like, I can never forget this happened. He's like, what happened? My bike got stolen. Who stole it? Bro, if I knew who stole it, I probably would have stopped them when they were stealing the bike. But I didn't say that because the guy was kind of scary. I was just like, oh, I don't know. I was like, all right, don't worry about it. I'm going to find out who did it. I'm going to settle it. And I was like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean you're going to settle it? What are you going to do? But it was a fact that somebody cared. Somebody outside of my loved ones, outside of my family, my extended family, or any one of my parents' friends or their kids, somebody that didn't have a connection to me cared about my well-being. And that was the first time really that I felt that love, that I felt a sense of community, like somebody outside of my loved ones cares about me. And then I remember, this was one of the biggest things for me in middle school, is I would always bike to school before my bike got stolen, obviously. I would always bike to school. And I had like a little biker gang, and I would bike with these guys. They lived maybe like 2 miles, but we'd always meet on the way to school. And I remember his name was Jaron Starworth, God rest his soul. And he ended up being like the star basketball player, the star football player. Like, this guy he's what a lot of people wanted to be in high school. Like, you think of the cool kid that's just a down to earth, chill person. That's what he was. And I remember I would always bike with him, and I'd hang out with him and his brother and their friends, and I felt a sense of belonging, right? I felt accepted, and then I would meet other basketball players, other football players, and I get cool with all of them, and we'll just become buddies. We'll hang out, etc., etc. And I really felt that sense of community. Now, things changed when I went to high school and I joined the soccer team. The soccer team, as you might expect, growing up in California, Sacramento area, it was mostly white kids. It was 99% white kids, and I was like one of the 2-3 black kids on the team. And it's not like a race thing, but you feel more comfortable around your people. Like let's just call it what it is, right? And I didn't really feel as comfortable with them as I did with, Jaren and all those guys, and the basketball players and the football players. And it was like, there was also a weird feeling of, oh, you're with the soccer team now. Everybody's kind of like secluded to their own groups, basketball players, football players, which most of them ended up being overlapped. And then the soccer team. And I started to feel like I didn't belong again. And this is all like confidence thing, right? Like I said, confidence issues growing up. It was hard for me to feel accepted or belonging in certain crowds. And I remember one of the pivotal moments in high school that really changed everything for me was when I started getting close to these two guys. I still talk to them to this day. Josh Hallquist and Hazem Mabruk. Now these guys, like, they brought me in. They made me feel loved and welcomed. And Josh was like one of the most popular kids, maybe in the whole city. Like all the schools, everybody knew him. He was cool. He had a pool in his house. Party, like he was a fun guy. He was a dope guy. And Hazem Mabruk was like the smartest kid in the school. Easily, for me, it was like the smartest kid in the school. And he was also popular, everything. And they made me feel welcomed. Obviously, we had other guys in our group, but those were the main guys that I would always drive to school with. Obviously, I had no bike, so I had to figure something out. He'd always pick me up, like bring me a bagel. He'd make a bagel for me and just bring it in the car and be like, hey, here's your bagel. And, just little things like that throughout the years. And I really, really felt loved by people outside of my family, outside of my loved ones, outside of my people I grew up with. I really felt loved by others. And it really helped me, right, going through high school. So now we fast forward to college. And in the first year of college is when my faith really started to grow. Like I mentioned in the first video on this channel about how being a pastor's kid and growing up in church and everything, I really wasn't big in my faith yet. It wasn't until I left that and I had to figure it out for myself that I really started to feel God's presence in my life. And it coincided with my desire for community. Now, I went to school for engineering, construction engineering, civil engineering. And my whole mindset was I want to go back home one day in Nigeria and help infrastructure. Right? That was my whole thought process. Like, how can I help people? How can I help my community when I go back home? And my life has kind of taken that whole philanthropic mindset, right? Obviously, I do my job, I do my whatever, but I'm trying to figure out how I can make the most impact in my community every day. And I remember when I started my tutoring business or tutoring organization, I moved it a little bit over more to mentorship, more to having an impact in kids' lives. I would see kids and I see myself in a lot of these kids. Like they wouldn't have confidence in themselves. They wouldn't have confidence in their abilities, their skill sets. They wouldn't, well, not this part, but they wouldn't feel loved at home, or they wouldn't feel loved, or they wouldn't feel like they had any friends. It was just always something that every kid kind of needed. And it was my message, my mission to love on those kids as much as possible. And I would bring people with me that would help me kind of give that message, kind of show them that, hey, strangers will love on you too. Like people that don't have no obligation to love you or care about you will care about you. And this is where we want to foster those relationships, those experiences for you, so that when you grow up, you can pass it on to the next generation. And now I think about community and how it literally saved me, because it wasn't like anything drastic, like I was gonna do anything crazy or anything like that, or anything, severe. It was just the fact that it boosted my confidence so much. Like, community boosted me so much, and this also factors in with church as well. Like, community helps so much with church for me. I'd always go to church, and anything that happened throughout the week, I see my people in church, and I feel better. I feel like I'm surrounded by people that love me and that want the best for me, and it makes everything seem okay, right? Now, when I think about community and how important it is and how vital it is to everything I do in my life, I see people kind of try to downplay the importance of community. I think our 20s, all of us in our 20s, maybe you're past your 20s, maybe you haven't even reached 20 yet and you're watching this video, but a lot of people in their 20s say, oh, this is my selfish era. This is the time where I had to do what's best for me. And yes, you have to do what's best for you. This is the time to prepare for the rest of your life. But I've never looked at my 20s as this is my selfish era. I've never looked at it as I don't have to care about anybody else. I just do my own thing. Like, I can do my own thing while still caring about other people, and it wouldn't affect my own thing. Like, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. And I think the whole mindset of me, what is important to me, what matters most to me, has affected a lot of us to where we're downplaying the importance of community. And I'll give you some examples of just why I just think community is, and the littlest things you can do to affect your community or show love to your community. So people will invite me to events, and it's funny because I'll go to events and my friends will be like, oh, why do you know everybody here? Why do you know so many people here? Or Mr. Popular, like one snarky comment like that. And I'm like, every time I go to an event, I meet somebody who I feel or looks like they're not having a good time, or they're not, maybe something's going on in their personal life and they don't feel good, but they're here trying to, jolly themselves up. I go to that person, introduce myself, talk, make small talk, whatever, and just try to make them laugh, try to make them feel seen at the event or whatever, make them feel loved. And I go home and that's somebody new I meet. So when I go to the next event, I see them and I, hug them and I shake them, and people are like, oh, how do you know so many? I just kept building those relationships over time, trying to make people feel loved. The same way, nobody had an obligation to make me feel loved in middle and high school. Nobody had the obligation to do the things that they did for me back then. They didn't have to welcome me. They could just let me fall by the wayside and just be a regular kid in school that they don't talk to. But they made an effort to love on me, show me love. So what sense would it make for me to carry on with my life and not be passionate about showing that same love to everybody around me, right? Or let's say somebody will have an event, a flyer, and they'll say, oh, can you share this on your Instagram? Yeah. It costs me nothing to show love on my Instagram. It costs me nothing to repost something that you want me to repost. If I have an audience that you want to reach, I'm going to help you reach the audience. It doesn't cost me anything. I'm not going to lose followers because I reposted 17 flyers in 2 weeks. Obviously, I don't do that. That's excessive. But I'm just saying, it's not gonna cost me anything. So I think a lot of people get in this mindset of, I need to lock in and do what's best for me. I need to lock in and focus on myself and not worry about anybody else and what anybody else has going on. But this video is a challenge to anybody here who feels as if they don't have a sense of community, or maybe they're lacking community. I hear so many people say it's hard to make friends. It's hard to put yourself out there and feel accepted and et cetera, et cetera. And I understand that to an extent. I understand, the generation we live in, the communities we live in now, people want to appear too cool to be vulnerable or let people in and let people love them, let people see them for who they are. It's always like a facade with so many people, an act. I want people to think I'm like this. I want people to think I'm mysterious. I'm gonna be on Twitter 5 hours a day, Instagram 5 hours a day. I won't post though, but I want everyone to think I'm so, like mysterious. Like, what is this person really about? What are they doing? Like, what? Bro, just be yourself. Like, people will accept you for who you are. You don't have to be anything special. You don't have to be anything unique, different. You're different in your own way. We all have different, capabilities, different abilities, different mindsets, we're all special in our own different way. You don't have to be anything unique or appear unique. You just fine the way you are. And community is become so big to me in the last maybe 15 years, where I think every day how I can make an impact on my community, how I can help somebody in my community. Every video I post, obviously I enjoy, whatever I'm recording, but I'm also thinking, who can this help? Like, who needs this? And maybe not everybody cares that deeply about community, and that's fine. But there's always something you can do to show people love in the smallest possible way. If you have a friend, if you have friends and maybe you feel like they haven't been themselves lately, or they haven't been, the way you've known them, a simple text is enough. Trust me, like I've had people text me, just, hey, I'm thinking of you, and like it made my whole day. Like, oh, somebody cares about what I'm going through, and we're all going through our own thing. But if everybody is checking in on everybody else, trust me, it's gonna come around to you. If you're checking in on somebody that just comes to your mind, I do this all the time. Somebody comes to my mind, I have nothing to say. I just be like, how are you? I hope you're good. Bye. Like that's all I have to say. The smallest things make the biggest impact. I told you guys about that first event of him just saying, oh, who did this? I'm gonna sort it out. Actually, he didn't sort it out. I never found that bike again. But it's the fact that he thought of it. He said it that matters so much to me. And you might not think you have a voice or you have an impact or you have a platform. You don't need followers. You don't need charisma. You don't need any of these things. You just need love in your heart. As long as you have that love in your heart, trust me, it'll show in how you care about your community, how you focus your attention on community, how you're passionate about people in the community. So for me, but especially these next five years, I'm really thinking about community outreach, community things I can do in my community, plans I have for my community, especially with the kids, how I can make more of an impact, how I can touch somebody's life, how I can make somebody feel loved, feel seen, feel appreciated, feel like they matter in this world. A lot of people feel like they don't matter. A lot of people feel like they're not seen, they're not loved, they're not appreciated. And if it's I believe that's one of the things that God has put me on this earth to do, is to love people. Is to show people the love that God, has shown me, has shown a lot of us, all of us. And yeah, it's just important to me to love people and build community everywhere I go. I tried my hardest to do it in California. I've tried my hardest to do it, in Texas, and wherever I go next, I'm gonna try my hardest to do it there as well. So, community saved my life, guys, and it gave me purpose as well. It made me understand what I need to do moving forward for the rest of my life. So from now until the day I die, it's literally going to be about how can I help people be the best of themselves, reach their potential, achieve things that they don't believe they can achieve. Because I believe everybody has a role to play in whatever aspect in life, and I think mine is building community. So I'm gonna keep doing that. And this is a community I'm building right here. So if you guys love this video, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, help the algorithm. This channel is all about spreading love, faith, and motivation, and you guys are helping me do that. I appreciate you so much. Love you guys so much. Have a blessed day, and God bless you all. Bye.